Welcome to God's Food for Thought. This week we're talking about temptations and testings. You know, all relationships must endure times of testing. Why? Because we are all human, and all of us do not always act in a kind and loving manner, and it will test the patience of the people that we're with. And so the main test there, when somebody's not treating you right, is to keep on loving regardless of the circumstance. Now, this does not mean that we will love what people do. It means that we love them. And that's the way we really deal in society with the sins of society. We hate the sin and the destruction that it brings, but we still love the sinner. Very important. Just as God loves us when we sin. Sin misses the mark of God's love. So when someone sins, especially against us, we must maintain in God's love, or we will fall out of God's love just the way they did. Remember, Jesus said that if we love God and our neighbor, we fulfill the law, meaning we do not sin. The next temptation that we're going to look at that Jesus faced in the desert was one of misplaced affection and worship. The act of worship really is an act of bowing down. It's an act of complete submission. And a real worshiper bows their lives down before the Lord and submits to God. The only one that we're totally submitted to. Now, we submit to those in authority and all that, but the one that we're totally 100% submitted to is God and God alone. No one else. Sin always rejects the fullness of God for just a part of His creation. They want to trade the fullness of God and the joy for just a part of the creation. No matter how great the prize, the creation cannot even begin to give us the joy of God's presence. Many will look at in the form of money. They want to worship that, and fame, power, physical thrills that will always lead them with a void in their life, empty. That's what Solomon did when he said, vanity, vanity, all is vanity. He said, it's better that I would never even born. He went after the vanity of trying to replace God with some kind of sensual pleasure. With God's help, we will not have to fall into the devil's temptations like Adam did. We can be victorious following the example of Jesus as he declared God's truth in the face of the devil's lying temptations. In the face of our temptations, we need to call to remembrance, it is written, and I am a servant of the Lord. I've given my life to Him. That's not what I'm going to do. Let's look at the next temptation that Jesus had to endure. Matthew 4, verses 8 through 11. Again, the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in their glory. And he said to him, all these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me. Now remember, in 2 Corinthians 4:4, we're told that the devil is the god of this world. He's the temporary one in charge, so to speak. But the earth is the Lord's in all its fullness. He's going to come back and reign for 1,000 years, Jesus. But in the meantime, the god of this world is the devil. And when the devil tempts us, that there's always an apparent shortcut that he wants to give us. He was trying to give Jesus a shortcut to when Jesus would rule and reign for 1,000 years. In other words, you don't have to go to the cross. You don't have to do this. I'll give you a shortcut. Well, of course, when the devil tells you anything, he's lying. He'll never do anything good for you. The temptation is to honor the devil above God the Father through false worship. The devil wanted to be worshiped. That's when he fell in the first place. He wanted to be recognized as great. And part of this temptation is for Jesus not to complete his mission of dying on the cross for us. You see, in the humanity, Jesus was 100% human as well as God. And to be 100% human, he had to be able to be tempted. And there's a part of humanity that would like a shortcut sometimes. Well, what did Jesus do? Verse 10, then Jesus said to him, away with you, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God and serve him, and him only shall you serve. And what happened? Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. We've been talking about the temptation that Jesus went through. I just want to remind you of something. You remember Adam when he was tempted? Where was he? In the Garden of Eden, in the best place possible. Where was Jesus tempted? Out in the wilderness, being hungry, having not eaten food for 40 days. So that the temptation that came to Jesus was much stronger, yet he endured it for us. He came down, became a human being for us. To do what? To conquer the sin that's trying to control our lives. To conquer the sin that separates us from God. All of us must pass the test in order to be with God. It'll show what we truly believe and what we truly want by what we truly do in this world. We need to follow the Lord. With his help, we will pass the test. With his help, we're more than a conqueror. We're going to end today's lesson with another song that I've written. It's called I Have Your Word Within My Heart. And I pray that it's a blessing to you. We'll see you tomorrow for one more of Temptations and Testings. God bless you.